Hey everybody, welcome to the Atlanta version of the Horseshoe Lounge. The podcast has arrived, and so have the Roosters winners. I'm Austin Ward, that's Jeremy Birmingham. Here's Nicole Cox. And look at this crew, Nicole, that you brought.
All of our Buckeye Bowl trip winners. Oh,
my. The atmosphere.
So exciting.
The atmosphere is changing quite a bit since Monday when we got down here for the first Roosters Report.
It's weird, but it actually seems like people are showing up. We were all week I've been waiting for everyone to get here, and then walking around this morning downtown Atlanta, the buzz is getting a little bit louder, and so
we are here. We are here.
We're 28 hours away from the game at this point, and Ohio State fans are starting to sort of take over downtown.
I think the buzz that's just the espresso martinis. Nicole, how did the travel go?
It was amazing. We always go through travel partner specialty tours. It was phenomenal. We got on the plane, hour-and-a-half ride. Even if it was that, and we just got right here. It's amazing. So, and guys, I'm telling you, I just have the best feeling. Like I said last show.
You only picked a 5-point win. I think you're...
No, but that's okay. Who cares if it's close? I think it's going to be a great game. I really do. And guess what? We're going to win. It's as simple as that. We're going to win. So everybody just have that mindset. And I just, those vibes, they can make a difference, you know?
So you had to get through Christmas. You had to get down here first. So I know you're not like ready to dive into the X's and O's, are you? Like, your notebook's not out here?
I do not have my notebook. I'm a little behind on just trying to make Christmas happen at the house, but I know that the Buckeye fans are ready for this game, and it's just going to be absolutely incredible.
Thursday, Ryan Day said that nobody thinks Ohio State can win, but Nicole knows they're going to win. So I think that offsets it all.
You guys, people think they can win. There's no doubt. That's why we're all here.
Well, there's a lot of people in the national punditry that do not believe Ohio State belongs in this game and that they will get beat very badly and easily. I don't personally subscribe to that, but like, how does that make you feel?
You know how I feel? It's going into 2023. I'm thinking positive vibes. I think that's the most important thing.
Good vibes only.
Good vibes only. 100%. I think that's very important. And so feel it here. It's so exciting.
I think it must be the deluxe accommodations.
It is the deluxe accommodations, you guys, and the swag bags and just all the gear. It's perfect.
Those backpacks are great. I don't know what else was in it, but the backpacks would have been enough for me. So what else is planned for the next 2 days down here?
So
Nicole?
we have a tailgate tonight that Travel Partners did all of this. Travel Partner Specialty Tours, which is incredible and great. We have about 200 people on this trip. We have our 24 winners, and then we have a tailgate before the game. We go to the game, and then we go home on New Year's Day. So, which is different because, last year, guys, we were in the, 5 days. Yeah. So it's exciting.
That's a lot. Because Bert and I have been here since Monday.
Yeah.
That seems like too much.
I can't wait to hear what you guys have been up to.
What's the most stressful part of this for you?
My kids, one of my kids is young, so just kind of getting through Christmas. But honestly, it all makes it worth it when we get here and we see our winners, because our week 1 winner, I haven't seen her since September. Right. So, and just seeing how excited they are and appreciative, it makes it all worth it, without a doubt.
Nicole, you weren't there for the Horseshoe Lounge on Monday.
I know, guys. Don't worry, I threw the flu in there with Christmas. Yeah,
So you have to pick somebody who's going to shine for your Roosters Buckeye Leaf tomorrow night. Mayan Williams is back. That was the first thing that you checked on. Mm-hmm. So you can just go with that. Jay-Z didn't say it.
I know.
Maybe he did.
I have an article that I have pinned to read for Paris Johnson Jr.
Ooh, yeah, the Players Tribune. Mm-hmm. It's going to make you cry.
I've heard that, and that's why I wanted to start reading it, but I was packing still, last night. Yeah. But I don't know. I think there's going to be a feel-good moment, guys.
You might be onto something. Paris Johnson will play a huge role in tomorrow night's game for Ohio State. If the Buckeyes are going to win, the offensive line has to keep C.J. Stroud standing.
Yes, correct.
And they're playing against probably the best defensive lineman in college football, and Jalen Carter from Georgia. So you might be onto something. So trust your instincts here is what I'm saying.
I am.
They never steer you wrong.
Well, sometimes. But it's okay, guys. I'm feeling really great about these. So
is the score still going to be 38-33, Nicole?
Yes. Okay. I put that on my little card for the raffle and everything. I feel it's going to be similar to that. It's going to be a close game just because it's 2 really great teams, a lot of talent out there.
Okay. What else do we need to know heading into 2023?
Just thank you guys for being here and doing the show. It means so much. It's kind of fun doing it in Atlanta.
Is there anything changing at Roosters?
We are going to have $3 appetizer Tuesdays, but we'll talk about that on Monday.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there so we remember. It's just something new, but we've had that price for, I think, 12 years. So we're just,
you held on as long as possible.
We did.
You guys are beating the cost of inflation, so you're good.
We're trying. But a huge thank you to all of our winners.
You think they're ready for tomorrow?
I think they're all ready. I'm going to do the OH one more time, I think.
Okay, let's see.
All right, ready, guys? OH!
Oh,
yeah, they're ready.
I think they're ready. Kickoff is coming. Nicole's going to go hang out with them a little bit more, and then Berm and I will drop a little bit more from what we learned on Friday morning for the Roosters Report. Hey, Berm.
Hey.
One more day, and we finally get to stop talking about this matchup.
Yeah, it's. I'm glad you could see it this morning on Ryan Day's face in the press conference with the head coach. Is like, he's ready for this to be over. Not like the game, but everything leading up to the game. There's just been so much conversation. And unfortunately, so much conversation in the last month continues to be about the last month and not about Saturday. And I think that's one of those unfortunate byproducts of losing the game that's the most important to everyone. Because it's really taken the focus off of the matchup with Georgia and put it squarely on just Ohio State not messing up, as opposed to like two great teams playing each other.
I think I wrote about it on Friday at ohiostate.rivals.com after the press conference. I had a lot more that I wanted to say about it. And I have on the podcast throughout the week talked about the national narrative and the Georgia media, and that's fine. But I think there's also an element of some of us in the Ohio State media, like, the last time they played was a loss to Michigan. So there's naturally going to be conversation about what they did and didn't do right in that game. And certainly a lot of the attention has to go to what went wrong and to get that fixed. I get all that. But I also feel like some of it is unfair to keep forcing Ohio State to look backward at November 26th when tomorrow night is going to be the biggest game of their lives.
Yeah.
One of the toughest opponents that they're ever going to play. And a chance to play for a national championship. They keep saying Michigan is not in the front of our mind. Georgia is.
Right, and yet everyone keeps trying to make them talk about or think about Michigan. And I think that's the unfortunate reality is, let's say Ohio State goes out tomorrow night on Saturday night in the Peach Bowl and lays an egg. And how many people are going to say they weren't focused? They weren't focused on Georgia because they were still worried about Michigan. And that's what people are pushing on them the whole time. Like, time to move on. Win, lose, or draw, which is impossible, by the way. Win or lose against Georgia, like Michigan, that game doesn't matter anymore. Like, that game does not matter. What happened a month ago does not matter. What happens tomorrow night is what matters. And Ohio State, and I think Kirby Smart did a nice job of this on Friday morning. Like, he paid a lot of deference to the Ohio State talent. These coaches around the country know better than anybody exactly how talented this Ohio State team is. And if they are their best, there is no doubt Ohio State can win this game. And I don't understand why people have come to this conclusion that because the Buckeyes didn't play very well in a 30-minute stretch of football against Michigan, that they suck.
I guess maybe, so you and I, our philosophy is that our audience only wants to hear about Ohio State and not the opponent.
Yeah.
You know what we should have been doing? We should have been actually going to the Georgia press conference and saying, hey, what happened against Kentucky?
Yeah.
Why did you losers only score 16 points against the Wildcats?
It's such a bizarre narrative, and I get it. This is a zero-sum game. Ohio State lost. Georgia beat Kentucky.
Yeah.
But the reality is, everybody's going to have a game at times when you aren't your best. It's unfortunate for Ohio State that came in the game that mattered the most. I would have liked people today to talk to Ryan Day and ask him, how much did that game teach him about his team? How much has he learned about his team? How have they used that to get better? Because I really think that there is value in defeat a lot of times more than in winning. If you go out and you win that game against Michigan, you come back and you win it 37-36 or whatever, you sort of have the ability then to be like, oh, we got out of here, everything's fine.
Yeah.
This type of outcome and still getting a chance to win the national championship means you are forced to be introspective. You have to think, crap, what did we do wrong? As opposed to, we got out of there. And that's sort of something we heard from Ryan Day in the last year. When they win these games that maybe they didn't feel totally clean. It's like, hey, we won, we're moving on. Like, sometimes I think that's a problem. And I do believe that losing that game forces Ohio State to look a little bit closer at itself than it would have otherwise. And that's why, I told you before we started recording this, like, more and more as we get closer to game time, I feel like something is going to happen tomorrow that a lot of people aren't expecting. And that's rare for me because normally as we get closer to the game, I get more nervous and more pessimistic. But I just feel like talking to the guys and seeing them, I think there's something there.
I'm curious if the Georgia media member who told me this morning that he was quite sure that Ohio State is going to win, I doubt that he writes that.
Yeah.
But there is a sense amongst at least one person that I know of in the Georgia media who looks at that team and sees they're not quite as good as they were last year, that they haven't really been tested by good defenses, which Ohio State is one. And the Georgia media watched what happened against Michigan, and they know they've watched enough football and break it down just as much as we do that there were only a handful of plays. They saw the first half, what Ohio State did to the Michigan rushing attack. Like, they know Ohio State's players are some of the best recruits in the country. They have respect for the coaching staff, and certainly Georgia's coaching staff, as you mentioned, Berm, is very well aware that when Ohio State is playing its best, it can beat anybody in the country. Like, they're not – there might be a little bit of overconfidence. I think that's perhaps justified from the Georgia roster, but the coaching staff, I think, is very much aware of the challenge that they're going to face tomorrow night.
Oh, that and the challenge for Ohio State is putting its best game together, which they have not done this year.
Yep.
And we've seen it. Every week you're going, when is it going to come together? That's why I understand a certain amount of reluctance from the Ohio State fan base or people covering this team to be overly optimistic that they can win this game. But if they beat Michigan a month ago and came into this game as the number 2 team in the country, would it feel different? and why would it feel different? If they would have come back to win that game against Michigan, why would it feel different? What ultimately has changed that wasn't the case a month ago? And that I think is the interesting part, because if you asked a Buckeye fan anywhere around the country on November 25th, could Ohio State beat Georgia? The answer would be, hell yeah, they can beat Georgia.
Yeah.
But somehow it's completely shifted. And
well, it's something that I've said a lot about the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. How do you want to evaluate a team? Do you think that what they did in their worst outing is more significant than what they can do at their best?
Yeah.
We don't know if Ohio State is going to show up and play their best game tomorrow night. I know that if they do, that they can win the game. Right. Will that happen? I don't know. We're finally going to find out, and we'll get to stop talking about it the same way that Ryan Day was very relieved to walk off the podium at the Westin this morning and be done with that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just Ryan Day this morning. It was every player on the roster yesterday at media day. Cade Stover, I was talking to him, and he's just like, I'm so sick of talking about this stuff. They just want to play football. And I think at times all of the hype and all of the lead up to this game can take away from what they just have to do, which is go out there and play the game that they know how to play. That was really what C.J. Stroud said over and over on Tuesday. God,
what day is it?
Like, they want to play Buckeyes football.
Yeah,
that is something they admittedly don't feel like they've done this year. So now you have an opportunity, and how do you take advantage of it? And there is nothing else that needs to be said. Like, look at the rosters, understand Ohio State lost its biggest game of the year to this point. Understand that Ryan Day is probably 1-4 in what we would consider big games in his career. That's real. All those things are reality. But
I mean,
he went on.
He won another Michigan game.
Right, I'm saying that. Well, but they were bad.
Beat the brakes off of an undefeated Michigan State team,
and went into Penn State and won a big game against a team that finished in the top 10. I mean,
I don't think I can go with 1-4.
There's obviously, but that's the narrative. Is that he can't win the big game.
Yeah.
So you understand why people feel that way, because they see the Clemson game in 2019, which, I mean, I said on Bold Predictions on Friday morning I was not going to talk about the officials for the game on Saturday. I will still talk about the officials from that game in Arizona 4 years ago, because that was atrocious. But if you win that game, does the whole narrative shift? Like, Ohio State beat Clemson in 2020. Everyone knew they were going to lose Alabama in that national championship game. No one cared, because it didn't count.
Yeah, didn't count. Wasn't real.
So, what do you have to see from this group to believe that they can win this game? And that's ultimately, I think, my question for a lot of the naysayers. Like, what could they have done different that would make people think that they can beat Georgia? Because I think they've always been capable of it, but we've also seen this team is capable of laying an egg.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't think that the projected spreads for Ohio State, Georgia changed from November 25th to your point, to November 27th. Like, Georgia was going to be favored over everybody in the country.
That's why they were number one.
I think it may have been. I'd have to go back and look. It may have been 3.5, 4.5, and then it went to 6.5. Like, that's why I'm amused and chuckling at a lot of, like, there was some more national narrative today that, like, I don't believe Ohio State can beat Georgia. That is a ludicrous take.
Yeah, doesn't. If
you don't think that they will beat Georgia, okay, fine.
That's especially ludicrous from people who follow recruiting for a living.
Yeah, to suggest that Ohio State cannot do it is asinine. But guess what? All that won't matter tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We finally get to go watch the Peach Bowl, the college football playoff semifinal, as will all of these people down here. Roosters Bowl trip winners. We are glad that they're down here. We're glad that Nicole Cox had us out for another Roosters Report.
And so glad we can stop talking about this game until it's actually been played. And,
we won't, because tomorrow we're going to do the pregame show.
That was something Kirby Smart said on Friday. Like, somebody asked, is this the toughest matchup you've had all year? It's like, how do I know? We haven't played it yet. Haven't had it yet. Like, let's put the ball to foot and go. You know what I mean?
I think I do. We're still going to have a pregame show tomorrow.
It'll be loud, probably.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what we can do. This has been the latest Roosters Report Friday. It is Peach Bowl Eve. We can't wait. Nicole Cox, we appreciate you for joining us. That is Berm. I am Austin. We will see you tomorrow at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.